Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Jordan and Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know.
Jordan and Keith.
From pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Hey, welcome to Golden State Media Concepts Music Review Podcast. I'm Keith, and I have with me Mariano. And today's music review, we will be talking about the new album from Lydia Loveless called Real, and the highly anticipated Frank Ocean with Blonde. So you don't want to miss this podcast. We're going to have some fun talking about these two new records.
Right. I mean, unless you do want to miss this podcast, in which case, sorry.
Oh, exactly. Right. So we'll start off with Lydia Loveless. Her album's called Real. First album like in 2 years. She's considered this, Americana music, country rock, alternative punk singer.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got from her. I got a little more of a country kind of vibe from her.
Yeah, me too. But when you look at the record cover, I didn't think that's what I was going to be hearing. But yeah, I liked it. It was cool. It was different. So her voice definitely has that country vibe to it. But the music kind of takes you on some twists and turns and fools you a little bit here and there. What did you think?
It was okay, actually. It's her fourth studio album, and it came out just 7 days ago, so exactly a week ago now.
Yeah. So, yeah, Miss Lydia Loveless Real, she's out of the great Midwest from Ohio. And, she's got songs like Same to You, Longer, More Than Ever. My favorite tracks were like Heaven and Midwestern Guys. So I think she's, her Heaven track was very interesting.
Yeah, overall, it was all right to me. I think I was listening to some of her other stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I think that she does very good when she collaborates. But like her own album felt a tiny bit like it's something missing. It was good. Like she can I just say as an artist is talented. She's a good singer and she's great on the guitar.
Right.
It just was missing a little, I don't know, a little oomph.
I know what you mean. I mean, I liked it, but my favorite track is Heaven, and that's the track that she gets kind of funky with the bass line. So I felt like the production has you thinking that it's not that there's definitely a country influence in here, but then you hear this alternative indie rock feel come from other songs, and then Heaven pops out, and it was really kind of funky, and I felt like I wanted to hear more production like that. Like you said, it was missing a little bit of an oomph. I wanted it to be a little bit more funkier than what it was, I suppose.
Yeah.
Huh?
What's one cool point is she produced it too.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was good. I don't know. It did lack a little something, but it was like technically good. There was nothing about it that I thought, it was just to me a little like heard before, I want to say. And I hate to say, but it was like her voice kind of sounds a little like Shania Twain-ish, only I like Shania Twain better because she carries more like energy. And I understand that. I'm pretty sure she doesn't like produce her own songs, Shania Twain, but
right.
But that's kind of what I got from it as I was listening.
Okay. Well, I mean, and my thing is just like, listen. But the one thing I say about this album that I do like is that this album was an album that did make me, because I've never really been a big young country fan. I've always favored old school country over young country, but I felt like this was as close to young country that I was going to like. I didn't dislike the record. I didn't love it, but I didn't dislike it.
Okay.
Do
you consider Rascal Flatts old country?
Are they somewhere in between? You tell me. I mean, I think they're more like of a newer country, but I'm not. I know who they are, but I'm not familiar with their stuff yet. So I need to get back to you on that. So I mean, what can you tell me about them, actually?
Yeah, Rascal Flatts. I guess I would have to consider them maybe a little older because my mom loves Rascal Flatts, but I do too, though, is the thing. But I mean, they've been making music since 1999. So I don't know. Is that younger?
Well,
no, that's like almost 2000.
17 years ago, man. So,
because I'm not a big country artist either, but Rascal Flatts to me is really good, and they also kind of add an extra little spin on things. Like they can sound really like country, or they can sound a little more almost poppy. Like remember the song "Life Is a Highway"?
Okay, yeah.
And they what I liked about them was they made country a little more accessible to me. Or like Luke Bryan, Luke Bryan almost has a little bit of like a hip hop feel. So he makes a country a little more accessible to me too. And I think that Lydia Loveless has a little more of like an Avril Lavigne kind of feel to her, on top of the country feel, and that makes her a little more accessible. Like maybe someone who likes Avril Lavigne can look this up and not like hate it. You know what I mean? So I guess maybe this is just one of those like new evolutions of country that we haven't heard before. You know?
Yeah, but I like it in that sense, like I said, because my biggest problem with Young Country's been that I felt like it was just really bad pop music and not enough country. And I don't feel that way with her. I think that she is very genuine about what she's writing about. And like I said, especially when I listen to, I don't know why, but Heaven really just, that song really grabs my attention when I listen to it, because she's basically talking about religion. And I was just surprised to hear what she said when she said it. I was going to read some of the lyrics. Well, here comes the beer on a cloud, something to say to the crowd. Well, we built a wall in between us, lock it up, because here comes a guy wearing no shoes. God, you can't even die with nothing to lose. Well, now he's mad about a fit I threw. When I met you, honey, I thought I had found relief, and we could stay together, but paradise is only for the weakling. No one goes to heaven. No one goes to heaven. So, I mean, we're here at the mercy of men's fevered dreams. Every night he doesn't visit me, because God doesn't ever really speak to she's. And I'm coming down now. I thought I would be okay, but everything just happens. Everything is an accident. Man, no one goes to heaven. No one goes to heaven. I was just like, I wasn't expecting her to say that, but it was interesting. I mean, the lyrics with the music was like a contrast, but I liked it and it caught my attention. I'm just like, wow, I guess she really is getting real. Huh?
That contrast can be kind of fun. Kind of like, remember that song Heifer with Drake and Lil Wayne, how the beat's really slow and then they're sitting rapping just straight through it? That contrast can be kind of nice. Or like Kendrick Lamar does a really good job at that. And I know what you mean. And I also know what you mean of with so much music that have just been out. I mean, just over the years, it can seem a little like cookie cutter, but that song definitely took an approach. Like when I read the title Heaven, it was going to be like another country song about how people love heaven, but this one was
not at all.
Nothing wrong with it, but it's just been done before, So sure, like I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just, is it new? No. So, but this one definitely took a way different approach, and I kind of found myself giving that that surprise face, like, okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's my favorite track on here, but I mean, even Same to You. Well, if I say another word, it'll be my last. I can tell by the color of your face you're mad. I'll have to take a few so I don't talk back. Well, it's going to be one of those days. And if it's the same to you that I'm gone, well, if it's the same to you, I won't stay long, because I can't move on if I'm 5 steps back. Well, I guess we're going out again, and by Texas, I know I'll be ready to crack. Well, that's where I almost killed you, but honey, give me one more chance. So, I mean, and if it's the same to you that I'm gone, well, if it's the same to you, I won't stay long. So interesting. I mean, I do like her lyrically. I think she's a pretty cool songwriter, but I do think that there is just a little bit more that she can put in production. But once again, though, I mean, this is someone who's alternated between country, alternative rock and punk rock music. And her cover, I mean, is basically a punk rock cover when you look at it. I mean, she's sitting on this like stoop, with her cigarette and her stockings torn and,
Yeah, and like, I think we have to give her a little more credit, because she is kind of doing something that not too many people have done before, mixing the country punk rock and doing it in more of like the country to punk rock ratio is more country.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you can definitely tell that she's influenced by Hank Williams III, who famously does that. He likes to mix old school country with punk rock. And you can tell that she kind of came up listening to his type of music.
Can I just say that if she were to make like another album with more features in it, more collaborations in it, it'd probably be really good.
Okay. All right. So what rating do you give this record?
I give this record. You know what? I'm gonna add a couple points because to me this is new. Like
Right.
the kind of like the formula is a new one to me.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna give her like a 7.5, maybe. Yeah, like 7.5.
Okay, I can dig that. And I'm gonna give her a 7 myself. So yeah, I definitely recommend the album. If you're looking for something a little bit different and something new, this is a good album. If you're looking for a change of pace and something that's not of the norm, then Lydia Loveless real. She definitely keeps it real with who she is and what she's talking about. So she's doing her thing. Yeah, so definitely, yeah. So 7, and you said 7.5. You said, Mariano, what you say?
I said I hope she's writing songs for other artists on the side because she's a very talented writer.
Oh, cool. So ideally she'll hear this and want to do that. So right on. So, and after this break, we'll get back and we'll go over the highly anticipated Frank Ocean's new album, Blonde. So stick around and stay tuned.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hey, and we are back. You're listening to Golden State Media Concepts Music Review Podcast. I'm Keith.
I'm Mariano.
And now it's time to talk about the new Frank Ocean album. His first album in 4 years?
Yep, and it's his second studio album overall.
Right.
So this
Blonde.
one came out 6 days ago, and this one came out actually exclusively on iTunes and Apple Play, but it had a ton of features on it. This one had Beyonce, Kendrick Lamar, Young Lean, Andre 3000. That song was incredible, but we'll get to that. Kim Burrell, James Blake, and even some producing credits on here. Pharrell and Tyler, the Creator, who I'm a big fan of.
Okay.
And I like the length of this album overall. We were just talking about the other album that it was a little short. It was like 38 minutes in total. This one's right about an hour, which I think is perfect. So this album, it was released a little. I don't know if
in
under
a weird way.
But it wasn't. There wasn't like a huge kind of hype for it. Not because it didn't deserve it, but just because it almost seemed like it was meant to kind of sneak in. But it did a good job. I didn't like the song Nikes, which apparently is getting a ton of airplay, and I thought it was a little kind of annoying. But the rest of it, though, excuse me, I feel like this album started okay, then got good, and it only got better and better and ended really good. I love the ending too.
Really?
Yeah, the ending was kind of weird. It almost sounds like like segments of tape cut together that were interviews with different people, and it was really cool. But the Andre 3000 song, Solo, the reprise, really good. And I heard a lot of speculation that he may have been taking shots at Drake with his verse because he was talking about, I was under the impression that everyone wrote their own verses, and
right?
Yeah, a lot of people were wondering if that was directed toward Drake. But I definitely agree with everyone that even if it was, Drake can't respond because Andre is not only he is actually himself a talented writer, but he's hip hop royalty, and it would almost be blasphemous to say anything against him.
Well, right. Well, it could have been about Drake, but there's other rappers who don't write their own lyrics, so Drake may just be one of them, allegedly. But yeah, so he could have been talking about everybody who doesn't write. So there are other people who have ghostwriters for hip hop. So, but I agree with you in regards to Nikes. I wanted to like that song, but it annoyed me with his chipmunk voice. I don't like the voice effect. I felt like if he would have sang that song without that voice effect, I would have liked the song.
Seriously, I was wondering if I was even listening to a defective copy.
Right, I didn't care for that at all.
Finally, adjusted itself right at the end of the song, and I was like, all right, I guess. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Nikes. I couldn't really like. I listened to it a couple times to try like give it a chance, but
Right.
it didn't do it for me. But the rest of it though, it only got better and better, and it only got kind of like slower and more like more. It gave me kind of more of like a reminiscent feel to it as it went on, and it was really good. And I was like, all right, there you go, Frank Ocean. Like that's kind of what I was looking for in this album.
Okay. All right. So what kind of rating do you give this record then? Let's get a 1 to 10.
I would give this rating. This album, excuse me. I would give it a 7.5.
Okay. Okay. So, and why 7 and not like a 9 or an 8? Out of curiosity.
Because, well, honestly, because we do, this is one episode with 2 albums, and we do 4 albums every week in the other episode.
Right.
And there is another album that I'm thinking of a much higher rating. That's why. And this,
next podcast, folks. Next podcast. But go ahead.
this is my reasoning is this album was good, but there are some that hit home more so for me. So
yeah. Okay.
But it wasn't as good as the other to me.
And you're being nice. So my take on this record, I was disappointed. Out of the 17 songs, I guess there were 5 that I like, and 2 of them weren't even really songs. So I liked Pink and White featuring Beyonce. I liked Be Yourself, which is not really that much of a song. I liked the solo reprise by Andre 3000. I liked that a lot. I liked Pretty Sweet. And I liked Facebook Story. But, I mean, that's like 5 tracks out of 17. So, I mean, I'm giving this record like a 5. I felt like Channel Orange was a much better record.
Can I apply this like little filter to it? Well, 2, sure. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 being, if I were to find this, like if we did, the review, so I got the whole album, but if I were to have found this album like on my Amazon, just kind of searching around, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have just bought like songs. I would have like nitpicked it.
Right.
But also, I just can't help but feel that like if this guy wasn't Frank Ocean, like if this was just some album by some person, I don't think it would have even been made. Like I don't think a producer would have even picked it up.
Well, there it is. Yeah, it was a disappointment. I mean, if you're gonna make me wait 4 years for your record, it's got to be really good. And I didn't walk away feeling that. I felt a little underwhelmed. I mean, if there's 5 songs out of 17 that I like, and 2 of them aren't really technically songs, like the Facebook Story is not a song, but it was funny to me. I liked that. And Be Yourself kinda is, but I liked that. But yeah, and then see, I felt like, and the more the album went, the more I didn't like the stuff. And like Close to You, I would have liked that song, but I didn't like his vocal effect. I liked his voice. I don't need for you to put an effect on your voice. And I felt like, why are you doing this? And I know you want to experiment, but you might want to say that for your 3rd and 4th record. You don't necessarily want to do that on your 2nd album. The sophomore slump, huh?
Or a mixtape.
Exactly. And then the album was called Boys Don't Cry, and then it got changed to Blonde, and just all. But yeah, and I felt like as the album progressed, for me, it got a little bit worse. Like I didn't like Futura Free at all. That really aggravated me. I didn't like that at all. And then White Ferrari, for me, it just felt like a knockoff of something from Channel Orange.
White Ferrari was written like by John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
So this is supposed to be a remake with James Blake and Bon Iver? Really?
Yeah, I guess so. But you know what? Like I said, I liked way more than 5 songs out of the album.
Right.
And again, I wouldn't consider disappointment. I do like it. It just wasn't like, it wasn't enough that I expected more. Like, this is the kind of thing that if I listen to an album from someone I've never heard before, I expect it to be kind of okay, because according to my musical taste, if I like you, I already know about you, and like I just don't know how better to put it than if it wasn't Frank Ocean, I don't think this album would have been big. I think somebody would have heard this like mixtape and been like, okay, you're a good kid, like you'll get there one day, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't know if this album would have made it, and I think he has more in him. And then he put that Endless album out, the visual record. I haven't had a chance to listen to that one. That one might be
out too. I want to hear that one. What if that one's really good?
Yeah, that one might be better than this one. But yeah, I felt this one was kind of shortchanged. And you're right about in regards to the White Ferrari, because I guess there's a reference to Lennon and McCartney's Here, There, and Everywhere, so they got credited because of that. But yeah, And when I heard that track, I just felt like this was something that I felt like he was trying to copy Channel Orange with that track, and I was just like, it just wasn't doing it for me. Yeah, disappointment.
I like the album cover. I wish I had front delts like this dude. I need to work on my shoulders.
Well, he's had 4 years to exercise and do his thing.
I know, seriously. I'll see you guys in 4 years.
Exactly. And then you call the album Blonde, but your hair's green on the front. I'm just like confused.
It's all good. I understand.
You see the green hair? It's green.
I understand that it's almost like an not irony because it's not like it's not anti-blonde, but I can kind of see the effect he was going for there, and I like how in the album cover it's like a photo with a frame, like the actual picture is not the entire. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the whole space of the actual album art, but no, yeah, I like it. I like his artsy kind of take on things. Like I really like that outro. I actually really like that outro.
Okay, yeah, I didn't at all. It just made me. It agitated me.
I really liked it. It just, again, it didn't hit as hard as I've heard other Frank Ocean stuff.
Understood. But yeah, so like I said, I give it a 5. You give it a 7.5? What did you say? Mariano?
Yes, sorry, 7.5.
Yeah, so you recommend that album and I don't. And we'll get into our wrap-up after this break. So stick around. We'll be back in a moment.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be, visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey, welcome back. This is Keith.
This is Mariano.
All right, and you're listening to Golden State Media Concepts Music Review Podcast. Just finished talking about the new Frank Ocean record, the highly anticipated Blonde. People have been waiting for this album for about 4 years now. So, and we finished talking about Lydia Loveless and Real.
Right.
Alt rock punk country singer Lydia Loveless. So, getting back to Lydia, like I said, I like the album. I definitely think she's a good songwriter, but I definitely think she could use a little bit more bass.
I think she's a better songwriter than she is performer.
Interesting.
Which I don't want that to sound bad. I'd like to see her really do some, really write some great songs in terms of selling them off to other artists and making great money that way. And then focusing her career more on just doing features on other people's albums and then kind of give herself that freedom. So instead of, making albums and going on tour, I think that she should focus on doing features and getting her face seen a little bit and, secretly undercover writing albums and making money off of royalty checks. I think that'd be a great way for her to go.
Well, you also mentioned that you thought that she might do very well if she was collaborating with other people on some of her stuff, on her records.
Or if she made an album, exactly. Then make an album, but with more features in it. Like how the 2 Chainz Lil Wayne album, Like something like that, I think would be really good. Like if she and Luke Bryan did a song, that would be big. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
she's got the sound. Even I'd like to go another way with that and say, even if she went more alternative, like think Evanescence, they have a similar kind of powerful voice.
Right.
But Amy Lee, other than the vocals and the writing skills, just like she has, she's got a really good band behind her. You know what I mean? And they carry the energy, and that's what I think that she's missing. She as an artist is great. She just isn't a finished, kind of piece in and of herself.
That's an interesting take on it. All right. And I felt like her voice is so distinct and strong that, you really hear that country in it. It's like she can't even really hide it that much.
But she shouldn't have to, though. Instead of hiding it, I think she should embrace it and just get her some musicians around her and see how that goes,
Okay. Definitely. Yeah. Like I said, I just want to hear a little bit more bass on it, because when you said earlier that you felt like it was missing a little bit oomph, to me that's what it was, because I feel like Heaven really stands out. Heaven, Midwestern Guys, but especially Heaven, because like I said, the bass, and it's just a funkier song. Because I almost feel like, am I listening to the same record? But I mean, I like that she went there and she had that contrast with her lyrics about it. It wasn't your typical country song in that regard, whatever that is. But I want to hear a little bit more of that. And I guess, so ironically speaking, I wanted her to experiment more on her record and Frank Ocean to experiment less on his.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, if that makes any sense. So yeah. So Lydia Loveless, good album. But yeah, I think you could go out even further with it and be even more adventurous with it, because you're already blending genres anyway with your style of songwriting. But yeah, go even a little bit further. Give me a little bit more. I feel like it's almost there.
Producing. She blends really well.
Yes.
She does a good job. She has a great kind of mind for mixing music together. She should be. How like Dr. Dre is never a great rapper, but he makes good albums.
Yes.
Like she should look into something like that.
Okay. Yeah. And then Frank Ocean, like I said, I didn't need any effects in your voice at all.
I know.
At all. So like when Kanye does it on his records, I'm just like, dude, just let me hear you sing, and let me judge it for myself. Don't mask the voice. Frank Ocean, don't mask your voice. Nikes, you started off the album and I was just like, really? Chipmunks, bro? Really? Because I like the content of the song and I like the music, but I didn't like what he did to his voice. And that's the first track on the record. I'm like, really, dude? And then same thing with Close to You. And that track's under 2 minutes long. I would have liked that track a lot more if he didn't put that vocal effect on his voice. But yeah, I just felt like, as I said earlier, out of 17 songs, I only like 5. And one wasn't even a song, the Facebook one, and then, the other song that I felt wasn't, was kind of, Be Yourself was kind of a song. I mean, but I did like that a lot. I enjoyed that a lot. That was a pleasant surprise, what was being said by the mom on that track. So I feel like Frank Ocean can do better than what he did. I mean, it is important to experiment, and I do commend you for having the different features on the record. And I like solo. I didn't like his solo, but I liked Andre 3000's solo reprise.
But he's Andre 3000.
Yeah, exactly. And it made more sense when I heard him, though. It almost made me like his solo, but it didn't. Almost. But Andre came with it on it. But yeah, I mean, I get the guest features, and it makes sense, but I feel like a lot of that still didn't. The songs I liked a lot, and the other songs, like I said, if you're gonna give me 17, tracks, I should like at least 7 or 8 songs of it. I should like at least half of it, and I didn't, so I was disappointed. That's why I gave it a 5.
Did though, so I wasn't disappointed. It just wasn't to the quality that I expected.
No, me too. And then lyrically, I just thought it was too chaotic and sporadic, and some of it was kind of dark and not in a good way. I felt like his first album was a much better record. And the thing is, anybody can make one good album. The question is what you do after that and how do you follow it up.
Yeah, I like it though, because I think that the first album was just way more commercial. This one was definitely a stretch, and it was a stretch. Like some of it I did kind of struggle to accept, if that makes sense. But I didn't dislike it. It was more artsy, but once I had time to kind of digest it,
right.
I did like it. I need to make that clear. It just wasn't on par. It was good to me. I just think Frank Ocean could do better, and so I'm more excited. I want to hear that other album, and if he makes another one, I'm still on board, and I'll jump on that one.
Well, yeah, I want to listen to Endless too, because I'm curious now to see if that's a better record or if it's not. I just don't know. But I definitely think he's a talented guy, but I felt like he lost a little focus when he made this record. Like I said, in some of the lyrics I didn't care for at all. And then the Future, the last track, I didn't like at all.
That's because he spent 4 years working on his front delts, though.
He working on his what?
On his front delts, his shoulders.
Yeah, Future Free, I don't know what that was. I was just like, and Yeah, pretty sweet though. Surprisingly, I liked, like I said, and the Facebook story that had me cracking up. I mean, there were things on here, in pink and white. Yeah, I mean, and if, like I said, if it wasn't for the chipmunk style sound on Nikes, I would have loved the song. But I'm just like, why would you even start your album off on this? Are you messing with this? Is this a joke? What's going on?
Because actually, Nike scared me because I was like, please don't tell me the whole thing is like this.
Exactly. I mean, you got to be careful with stuff like that. So,
but it looks like everybody's giving it some pretty decent reviews. The Rolling Stone gave it 4 out of 5. Chicago Tribune is up there with 4 stars out of 4 stars. People liked it. I liked it too. It just wasn't all there. So I don't know if I'd score it that high, but it wasn't a bad album to me.
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's definitely a 5. It could have been much better. I was disappointed. But that is all the time we have now, Mariano, for this podcast.
All right.
So, but thank you, everyone, for listening. And you can always catch us on GSMCpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on iTunes. And there is SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher. Am I missing anything, Mariano?
Nope.
All right. Well, I am Captain Keith.
I am Lieutenant Mariano.
There you go. Yes. You got promoted. All right. And we will see you somewhere out in space.